Hello everyone, this is Sean, and I just wanted to record a quick peel video of my Zesty mix. I started this quilt back on Thursday, the 29th, so that would make today day 5 officially. As you can see on the official card here, the peel cover in is 5 to 6 days, and as you can see by the top of this, the quilt is perfectly ballooned, perfectly ballooned. You can see that there's actually no sections here where the adhesive is connected in between the sections. Although we do have a little bit of an overwatering issue here, and I can actually tell you exactly what the problem is. This was probably dipping down into the water a little bit. This corner was, none of the other corners were. But once I actually peel this, these will be fine. These will air out a little bit. I'm going to be doing at least a 1 day time lapse with these, so they're going to be baking under the warm LED grow lamps over the next couple days, so I am not worried about this slight overwatering spot here. It is also ballooning. I can see where there's actually growth. Certainly not as good as the rest of the quilt, but as soon as I pull that top and the LED grow lamp um, helps with evaporation, that area will dry up very quickly and start to grow, and should catch up fairly well based on the difference between this section and this section. You will also notice that my quilt is significantly higher, probably by about 21 millimeters. That is because I actually have this quilt sitting on 21 millimeter risers that I 3D designed and printed that actually hold the quilt up. I have to add more water, but this allows me to shoot directly from the side, which means I can actually get good pictures of, and obviously time-lapse video of seeds growing from the side. When you have the quilt inside the tray without risers, you actually can't see the seeds from the side. You have to actually look from the top. So it's definitely a unique angle, and I raise my quilt up. So before you ask, that's why it looks like my quilt is actually hanging up outside of the tray. That is because it actually is. And I do have, if you look around the outside here, I actually do have the water right up to the middle of the coconut coir. And I will, of course, double and triple check that before I start my 1 to 2 day time lapse, because I do not want the water to go too far down. There's a lot of water in this, probably 2 to 3 times the amount of water that you would normally put into it because of the risers. And I'm not sure if you can see this in the side here, but we do have a little bit of a push-up situation because I did let these grow for a while. Um, these technically could have been peeled yesterday, but I wanted to have a nice, good, solid peel today for the video. So one thing that you hopefully can hear, this paper is dry. The paper should be dry on peel day. Um, After a couple days, 2 to 3 days, if that paper is not dry, you probably have a watering problem. And when I say watering, I mean you have an overwatering problem. Um, the paper on the top 100% should be dry, and if it's not, check your humidity levels. Get a nice little temperature hygrometer sensor here. It can tell you, like right now I'm at 64% relative humidity. That might be because it's been raining the past couple days and we are in the basement. That relative humidity is going to come down probably into the 50s because of this light. This light's going to remove the humidity from this area. So, and of course there was water in the area, and it was probably humidifying the this area, this little enclosed area, because of evaporative. It's what we hope for when we're actually doing the Hamama system, where the water evaporates and goes into the air as opposed to into the top of your quilt. So, as you can hear, nice dry paper. How do we peel? It's up to you. My first 2 or 3 quilts were such that I was able to peel the paper away from the fabric from the corners. I have not been able to do that recently, and I suspect that's because they're using a little more pressure when they compress the top paper layer and the fabric layer. That's actually good because it actually gives more pressure, downward pressure on the greens, and the greens actually like that pressure during germination. They don't want pressure when they are growing, but when they are germinating, the germination period is basically between when you soak them and when you peel. And when you peel is when so roots go down and then shoots go up in that order. So roots go down and then shoots go up. So if you have shoots going up all the way across your quilt, you know that the roots are all the way down. And you can probably see, well, I'm not going to lift that because we're on the risers, but um, for sure, almost all of the seeds have sent down roots at this point and have sent up shoots. So now it is safe to peel. But that is when you want to have pressure and light attenuation. Seeds like to be in the dark when they are first germinating. So this paper is semi-opaque. You can kind of see through it, but not all the way. So probably like 50-50. So it does attenuate the light. And you can hear, again, I want you to hear that, nice dry paper. Notice how I see a lot of green under there too. Very, very good. So you can, if you can, pull the paper away from the fabric, but honestly, just stab it. Just get a nice pair of scissors and stab. Now, guys, I have these nice Hamama scissors and they work great, but honestly, I just use my awl most of the time. Stab it, just rip it away. But the main thing is, it doesn't have to be pretty. Some people love that peel where it's just 100% perfect and they grab it from edge to edge and they can peel it off in one peel. Me, I know I'm going to be immediately throwing it in the garbage. So when I'm in the compost bin, so I don't care if it comes off in dribs and drabs, little pieces here and there. But my past 3 or 4 quilts, when I have, oops, sorry about moving the camera there. I have been able to peel off just like this, no problems. All sorts of a mess here, sorry guys. So you can see I was able to pull that paper off in one nice long peel. And this, I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. You can see it's a really nice, you got a really nice growth pattern here. I'm not really seeing a lot of seeds that haven't germinated. One of the things that you want to look for in a Zesty mix or any of the mix quilts, you're going to have different size seeds in any sort of mix. So if you have, I think in this case it's, oh my gosh, it's so many, like broccoli, kale, kohlrabi, arugula, cabbage, mustard, all sorts of different varieties. So um, when you have a quilt like this where you have 5 or 6 different types of seeds, they're going to have different growth rates. Another thing I had told you over here, oops, too zoomed in, there we go. Over here to the left, if you can see, you notice how these aren't growing very well. I did that intentionally. I want to be able to have at least one area of my quilt that is not germinated all the way when I do my 1 to 2 day time lapses, because if they were all grown like this, time lapses wouldn't be fun. So I usually blow a corner, just one corner of my quilt intentionally, so that I can have some fun growth from seed to microgreen. Otherwise, if you do this the right way, 100% of your quilt will be germinated and you won't have any seeds, or you won't have very many seeds that have not germinated. In this case, I intentionally did that over here. Another thing, again, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but this guy over here in the corner, it is sitting in water. Now, again, you push down a little bit, put your corner into the water, and you will have that happen to you as well. When I see spotty sections like this, the first thing I want to do is I want to see a picture of the quilt to kind of see if it's still wet. If it's still wet, look at this. I put my finger into it. There's still actual, droplets of water in there, on there. That should not be like that. And when I say should, I mean, in my case, it should, because I did it like that intentionally. But in a normal quilt, you'll notice the rest of the quilt, just a little bit moist, not a lot of water. When there is water, you can actually see that there are seeds that have not germinated. Why have they not germinated? Because they are drowning in water, and that's okay. No big deal. When you peel, you are exposing the top to air. And if you have an average amount of airflow and an average humidity and an average temperature, the evaporation will pull that liquid water off of the seeds that haven't germinated, and the seeds will kind of half-heartedly germinate and send their shoots down, their roots down and shoots up. The problem in a bottom watering system is you want the top to be dry. So any seeds that are left over on the top um, should probably die after a couple days, um, just because you don't want to water the top. You only want water to come from the bottom. Um, so yeah, you're kind of in a position where, do you water the top and potentially harm the existing microgreens that have already established themselves, or do you just let them die off and it's fine? It depends on what percentage of non-germinated seeds you have. In this case, this will definitely do what I want it to do in the next couple of days, which I'm going to photograph, tens of thousands of times, 15,000 times maybe, to share that time lapse with you. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. I do think it's going to fill in over the next couple days, and I will share pictures obviously later once we get closer to harvesting time. Hopefully this video was informative. Again, I'm trying to iterate on the videos, the instructional videos, to see if we can get a really good, solid instructional video for showing folks how to do things like dunk properly, that initial day one soak, but also peeling, because I know some people have, especially when they're doing it for their first time, they have some apprehension about, am I doing it right? Shouldn't it just peel away easily? And the answer is, it depends on how the quilt was manufactured, and that varies from day to day. So sometimes it's just going to peel right off. Sometimes the greens pushing pushing up from the bottom will just cause the paper to peel itself automatically. I haven't had that happen maybe once or twice out of 21 times. So some folks have it happen all the time. I think that depends on how much you water and how much that dislodges the adhesive that holds the paper to the fabric. And just one thing real quick, um, when we talk about the top and bottom paper versus fabric versus coir, this is the fabric that I talk about. The paper that I just peeled was the paper. This light stuff that the seeds sit on is the fabric. And then below that, the dark brown stuff, that's the coconut coir. The fabric is there to kind of hold the seeds up. Some of these seeds get really small, and the coconut coir is a very open mesh. So if you were to pour seeds over the top of the coconut coir, the dark brown coconut coir below, those seeds would just fall right through into the water and die. So they have to have a support layer, a support structure on top that keeps the seeds from falling into the water or into the coir. Conversely, the coconut coir below, the dark brown stuff, that is designed to wick water. For the first 10 days at least, it is bacteriostatic, which means it keeps bacteria and some mold and it's resistant to mold, mildew, and bacteria for at least a few days. So it's great because it does help reduce the bad guys like mold, mildew, and fungus. But you definitely want to keep the paper on as long as you need to wait until as many seeds as possible have germinated, and then you release them into the wild and they grow. And you do not need a fancy LED light like I have. This LED light that I use it is a grow light. It's a full spectrum grow light, so it gives white light, and that light is perfect for photography. So when I'm taking pictures, it's an even light that doesn't change with the time of day, so I can shoot multiple day time lapses without an apparent difference in color tone. The sun changes tone as it moves through the sky. So having a LED, a consistent, bright, and not changing LED, every time you take a picture is very, very helpful. So anyway, hopefully that was informative. We're looking at almost 15 minutes here for the video. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the video here over at YouTube, or you can obviously leave questions, comments, concerns over on the Hamama Friends group on Facebook, where this link will be shared. Hope you have a great day, and look forward to sharing the time lapse of this Zesty Mix seed quilt sometime in the next few days. Thank you.